guys, what's up? Look at me, I'm in Melbourne. Hey, what's up you guys, Matt Joes here. Wait, that's not my intro, is it? Sorry, this is my intro. Hi, my name is Matthew Vandeputte. I'm a time-lapse photographer in Sydney, London. This channel is all about time-lapse travel and tutorials. Today, I'm teaming up with Samsung Australia to talk about one of their new products. I've been an ambassador for their mobile phone division in the Australia region for a while now, so obviously this video is going to be biased. That being said, I'm an honest guy. If you've been following me for a while, you know I do pros and cons about a lot of brands that I work with, and it's just my honest, truthful opinions. That being said, the Galaxy S10 Plus is my absolute favorite phone that I've ever used. This video is going to be an unboxing, talking about some of the key features, talking about the things I like, and a little list of things I don't like, or I wish that we could improve maybe through some firmware updates at the end there. Anyways, thank you Samsung for sponsoring this. It's because of these types of videos that I can do these types of videos, so that's pretty fun. Let's get cracking with the unboxing. This is the box the phone comes in. This is the phone. This is the data cable. This is the travel adapter. This is the USB connector. And this is the AKG headset. I think that's probably the quickest unboxing I've ever done, so congratulations myself. Anyways, let's talk about some of the features in this phone that I am excited about. First up, there's 5 lenses on this thing. There's 3 here, and then there's 2 here. So that's interesting. There's an ultra wide angle lens, which is 123 degrees field of view, or however you want to call it. There's a medium, and then there's a tele or a zoom lens, as a lot of people falsely call it. That's really pretty quite exciting. And at the front, you've got 2 lenses, and this allows you to do those, you know, the live focus things with a blurry background and other effects. And I gotta say, I'm most excited about the lenses on the back, because the wide field of view that I shot, here's an example from Tasmania. This is ultra wide, then this is the normal, and that's the zoom. The ultra wide just gives you options to create really interesting content, and it also works in video mode, so that really opens up a whole new way of shooting. The next key feature that I'm excited about is called Super Steady. When you're in video mode, you can flick that little effect on, and I don't know if it's I guess it's a digital stabilizing algorithm that crops in a little bit and it limits the resolution to full high definition. That being said, it's pretty much like having an action cam, and it's almost removed the need for a gimbal. So I travel a lot with a small gimbal to put my phone on, and this almost removes the need for that. So in specific shots, you can get away with this. Here's an example of me power walking handheld through a graffiti laneway in Melbourne last week. I was truly impressed with this. It's pretty fun, and I'm excited to see where this goes. This is already an amazingly impressive start. Up next is the storage. So I shoot a lot of stuff on my phone, obviously, when I'm trying to promote certain things, or when I try to, every now and then, I try to travel lightweight, which isn't really like me, but you know, it happens. There's 1 terabyte of internal storage built in, and then I can add a SD card on the top, which gives me 1.5 terabytes of storage, which is wild. Think about that. The majority of my hard drives with all my time-lapse content from the last years, they're 1 terabyte, which is less than this. So how cool is that? Super hyped feature on this phone is, of course, the much talked about power share, where you can use this as a wireless charging pad wherever you are. So you activate it and you can put an item on there. I was out the other night, I was having drinks with friends. My watch died because I forgot to charge it. So I was like, hey guys, look what I'm doing. And I put the phone on the table and I put the watch on, and they're like, what? That's crazy. Wait, what does that work with? I'm like, pretty much the majority of wireless charging devices. And some guy pulls out his iPhone and puts it on top and it starts charging, and the look in their eyes was so nice. It was just really fun seeing their actual amazement, and that's how I responded the first time. Another key feature that tells me we're truly living at large in the future right now, ladies and gents, is the fact that there's no visible fingerprint scanner. There's a built-in fingerprint reader, which is an ultrasonic, I don't know exactly how it works. I think it uses sound waves to 3D map your fingerprint, and it's awesome. I've got a screen protector on here. It works best without the screen protector, but it still works, so that's pretty cool. Speaking of the screen, this screen is amazing. Look at the size of that. There's almost no bezels. It is also rated for HDR10+, which means that you can display better colors and better contrast. You can even shoot HDR10+ video with this thing as well, which you can then play back on the screen. It's one of the most beautiful screens on a phone I've ever seen. Much like the enormous amount of storage that you can get with this phone, it also comes with an enormous battery. This S10 Plus has a 4000 mAh battery built right in, which is great if you're on the phone all the time, or if you're shooting or even editing on the phone. It really helps to have that extra little bit to get you going along the day. Is that a saying? along the... I don't think that's a thing. Anyways, moving on. Those were some of the key features. There's more. Oh, actually, yeah, I forgot one. There's a built-in Instagram mode in the camera right now. So that means that you can shoot from the camera app and then share it straight to your Instagram story. And it's actually really great because it retains the highest possible quality, and it gives you the option to use the ultra wide, the medium, or the tight lens. My friend Rob Mullally showed me that if you enable the camera to open up on the last previous used mode, so say you're in Instagram mode in the camera, you close it and then you open it up again. You don't have to unlock your phone, put in your code or your fingerprint or scan your face, open up Instagram, go to your stories, and then start shooting. You can open up the camera and then you're shooting straight in your stories. So if you're someone that uses Instagram stories quite a bit, that's really quite a useful tip. So thanks, Rob, for sharing that one. Besides that, you can share content from your gallery using the new Instagram share button, which goes to your feed or your stories. Anyways, on now with the little tips and tricks. Something I want to use everywhere all the time is night mode, which is now built in with the new UI. There's also the option now to remap the Bixby button if that's something you want to do. I highly recommend enabling the grid view on your camera, so it just helps you with composition and making sure the image is level when you're shooting. You can record HDR10+ video. I mentioned it earlier, but it is really quite exciting that Samsung is pushing boundaries, especially when it comes to the visual side of things. Obviously, 5 lenses, pro mode in camera, HDR10+ now in the camera, the HDR10+ screen. It's nice to know that they take, I guess, content creation so seriously. Something I discovered on accident is a little, I'll call it the flat lay bubble or a flat lay level. It helps you see what is actually flat when you're shooting, for example, a flat lay, or when you're shooting straight up. For example, you're in a cool building with some nice architecture and you want to shoot that. It helps you with making sure all your lines are straight. Otherwise, you got to go in post-production and stretch them out, and that can deteriorate your image quality. It takes extra time. It's always better to get it right in camera. So having that little help there is quite a help. You can charge 2 devices with 1 cable. I have forgotten the right cable for my watch charger, or I've forgotten my actual watch charger. So now I can just bring one universal USB-C cable, plug that in here, and then charge my watch at the same time. It's something little, I really quite like that. That's really quite efficient, and you know I'm all about efficiency. Another little camera tip, you don't have to go into the menu to enable the floating shutter button. You can drag the shutter button as you're shooting and it'll float along the screen, which is good for when you're shooting selfies or you're in an awkward angle and you can't reach the actual shutter button. Speaking of triggering, this isn't new, but a lot of people don't actually know about this. This has been built into previous phones. When you're in selfie mode and you can't reach the shutter button, you can't reach the floating shutter button, you can enable a mode where if you hold up your palm, it'll shoot a photo, or if you say cheese even, or smile or something like that, it'll automatically trigger the shot. And that's something I used with Sean, Fur Little Peach on Instagram, to trigger her photos for this stop motion that we collaborated on as part of the Samsung Power Relay that we made last week. Another camera trick, in Pro mode, if you hold down on the screen, you can actually have an AE and AF lock, which means that you can separate where your focus is and where the exposure should be measured from, or where it should be kept at. Not entirely sure if this is new to this camera, but it's new. For me, I discovered it when shooting last week, and I think that's really useful. Again, it's showing that Samsung is taking photography and videography quite seriously. Those are my hidden tips and tricks. We've talked about key features, we've done the unboxing. Now let's talk about the things that I don't like about this phone, things that I'd like to see changed. The built-in hyperlapse mode needs a little bit of work. Sometimes it kind of shifts randomly. I think that's through micro vibrations in the camera stabilization. I'm not entirely sure. It also limits at full HD, and I wish we could use the other lenses to time-lapse with. I'm not entirely sure what the limitation is here. Maybe it's hardware, maybe it's firmware. If it is firmware, I'm hoping that Samsung can improve that in the future so that the hyperlapse mode becomes even better than it already is. Lastly, already, my negatives are usually pretty short. Maybe that's because I just don't talk often about gear that I don't love or that I don't use often, so I guess generally I'm pretty biased to whatever it is that I'm talking about. Anyways, the last thing that I really wish they would change back or bring back is the Pro video mode. So in the older versions of the phones, you could go into Pro mode and shoot, have control over all your settings like white balance, ISO, aperture, shutter speed, you name it. And then you could flick to video mode and shoot with those settings. You can't do that anymore now. So you still have Pro control for everything in the photo camera, but if you want to shoot video with Pro controls, you're gonna have to use another app to do that for you. So I really hope that comes back, maybe later with a firmware upgrade. We've seen it happen. They've added camera modes and they've changed things and made stuff better, so hopefully that can come back. I've talked to a bunch of people and they all agree it should be in there, so let's all keep our fingers crossed that it comes back. Look, that's really about it. This is me on the Galaxy S10 Plus. I hope you found this at least a little bit useful. please do me a favor, help me out here. Let me know what phone you're shooting on currently, or which phone you're using if you don't really shoot anything, and which phone you would like to upgrade to. It can be any phone. I just want to see where you're right now and where you want to go. So I find that interesting, and also every comment on the video helps the channel. So thanks for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you Samsung for sponsoring this video and enabling me to buy beautiful blue backdrops for videos whenever I talk about Samsung. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you how I shot this because it's a pretty simple setup. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon. This is probably the most simple filming setup I've ever used. So I've got a blue screen there. It's green on the other side. It's quite nice. I've got my camera with a microphone and my phone as a monitor. And then I've got a single Electrolyte battery powered bouncing off this white piece of paper. And that is literally the most simple setup I've ever done.